crap that we always do. Slamfiremedia.com. We have all the links there. Well, they're not here, but go to slamfiremedia.com. We have links to YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. I don't know what it is about BitChute, but we're getting pretty popular on BitChute.
Yeah, BitChute's where it's at.
We're,
Shit, all
we're
the
not getting popular.
alternative, man.
It's
Nah,
like
I
it's
know,
like
but
20
it's
20, but we're getting like consistently like 20 people or 20. We're getting like 20 views consistently. I haven't checked it recently, but I found that interesting. And YouTube, we're I don't know, man. I'm trying to remember how you told me how sometimes there's people saying that they're getting shadow banned and stuff like that. I don't know, man. There might be some truth to that because
well, we do talk about spicy stuff, and I don't give a shit. I'll talk about anything, man. Don't
yeah,
matter, and I'll be unfiltered too, because I don't believe in that kind of nonsense.
yeah. I don't know what it is, but we seem to be doing a little bit better on bitchy. So that again, guys, same. I'm tired of like wasting time on this stuff. I feel like it's it's there. Check it out. Whatever.
Go check it out, man. If you do, you do. Badass.
Yeah, we'll move on. So we had talked about it a little bit, but not really. The whole thing after the Kyle Rittenhouse thing happened. What's his name? Um, Tim Pool. He got into his van and they drove someplace and they did like a on the road show, I guess. They had Joe Rogan, um,
Blair White, Michael
Blair
Mallon.
White, Michael Malice, and the Big Dog,
Yeah, I was about to say the same
Alec,
thing. Big Dog Jones, man.
The Big Dog Jones, man.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say the same thing.
But yeah, you had mentioned that before. That you just repeat it again. Like it was a good show, but what was like the main problem with it?
There's just too many big heads there, man. Like too many big dogs. Like nobody could really get their 2 cents in because one was always talking over the other, and it was just too chaotic. But it was a really good show, though. I still liked it.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
entertaining. But I don't know. I have to agree with you on that because it's like I found myself being more entertained by the bickering going on between Michael Malice and like Alex Jones, because Alex Jones he's just like rah, 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 just starts freaking like going off on people, and
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like Michael Malice is like I want to say threatened by him, but I don't not really threatened, but just more like maybe annoyed by him or something like that. I'm not sure how to describe it.
Well, Michael, he likes to. He's a little instigator. He likes to say things to get certain responses.
I get
You
you.
know,
So he's kind of
like
like
yeah,
a like grifter, almost like a.
I wouldn't say well, shit. Some would argue, right? But I mean, I don't know. He does like to say certain things to see what your reaction is. Kind of like maybe Norm Macdonald in a way,
Yeah.
like
I noticed.
like in that kind of way,
Was it
in a
was
trolley way.
oh like in a trolley way? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it in that episode though where he was talking to that Hernandez guy? Was that guy that what was his name? Um,
Know this guy? Anoli?
no,
Or who? Who are you talking about?
Hernandez. It was like David Hernandez or something. There was a guy that was there. He testified in the trial.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know. I don't
Something
remember the
heard
guy's name.
something Hernandez. I want to look it up now, but yeah. Now that you mentioned it, that he kind of like he like instigates stuff. This guy was someone I want to say he was like recording there, like when the shooting when the riots was going on and everything like that. He was record. What is going on? He was recording there, and they brought him onto this. I don't know what they brought him on for, but they brought him onto the stand, and they. Dude, are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm
Oh
still
man,
here.
because like
Yeah,
my
yeah. No,
one
I'm
of my
still here.
computer screens froze, and it's like, did everything just cut off? What's going on? But no, yeah, they brought that guy on, and Michael Malice was kind of like pushing on him, saying like, so how do you feel about not Black Lives Matter? How do you feel about police now that this, and this, and this? So the guy would say something, and he would kind of like kind of jab at him a little bit, like, oh, that's interesting that you think that because that contradicts this and that, like kind of going off on him a little bit.
Yeah.
It might have been a different episode though.
Yeah, because it does sound too, but it does sound like something Michael Malice would do because he's
Across
anti-police and
Europe,
he's an anarchist.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff he says, I fall in line with, I agree with, but a lot of the stuff he says, I don't. It's like
So now that you
police. Oh, go
that
ahead.
I feel like you know a little bit more about it. So I would want to ask you this. I asked my wife this the other day. what would be the difference? They said I was telling her like, man, I would like to talk to this Michael Malice guy because a lot of things he says are kind of interesting. I'm kind of, I'm curious about a little bit more about what he has to say. So I started like looking into his podcast and things like that. But I was wondering, what
Mhm.
would be the difference between an anarchist and a libertarian?
Actually, I'd have to think about that. I remember, I don't remember the answer off the top of my head, but I do remember what's his name talking about it or explaining it because I was also interested in his ideas as well. Like I said, I fall in line with a lot of his ideas as far as anarchy goes. Like I don't believe in some other person telling me what I can and can't do. You know what I mean? Like that, I don't believe in. And Michael Malice is kind of the same way. But there is a natural hierarchy in society. It's just natural way of life. There's always going to be some kind of ruler, but he doesn't believe in all that stuff. I don't believe in that stuff either. Like I said, who the fuck is this person to tell me what I can and can't do in life? You
So
know?
it's not that you don't believe it, or not you, but like it's not that anarchists don't believe it. It's that they choose not to conform to it. Where, like you said, it's natural for someone to put like a leader into position. It's natural for someone to take that leader position.
Yeah, because the way Michael explains it, an anarchist, you do not represent me. I represent myself. I don't want to have somebody else represent me because more often than not, what they feel is in my best interest is more than likely not going to be in my best interest. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the decisions that are being made today, all this lockdown bullshit, all this nonsense going on with the thing, and yeah, that's pretty much what he talks about as far as energy goes. Like you don't represent me, and I don't. As long as I'm not gonna be aggressive towards you, you don't be aggressive towards me. That's that non-aggression pact or whatever. Like I don't know everything about it, but I mean I know more or less the cliff notes, I guess.
Like the general basic concept behind it.
Yeah, I get the idea, but I mean I couldn't really go into the nuanced details.
Yeah,
You
because
know.
I'm like the way that you're just, I'm not like trying to like shit on you or anything, but it's like the way it sounds like one of those types of things where it's like a perfect world type of idea. Like if everybody thought a certain way, or if everybody was okay with everybody, if everybody was quote unquote peaceful, then this can work. Because like there's always going to be someone that's taking advantage of someone else. There's always going to be someone that looks to take advantage of someone else, and that in turn creates the opportunity for someone to, you know, take that advantage, and then in turn someone to uh, be almost like a vigilante for that advantage that that person is taking. You know what I mean? So it naturally goes to like justice, like keep like a structure of where there's justice. You know what I mean? Where someone does something bad to someone, and then there's someone in turn that says, "Hey, I saw what you did to that other person, and I didn't like it, so I'm going to, do whatever to ensure that justice
It's
is served or whatever." Right? I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe there's something to it though. There's something else to it because I don't know, man. Something that I'm pretty sure everyone can agree on is that when shit gets real and people are backed up into a corner for whatever reason, like people get violent. Like it's just I think it's just like a natural instinct, a natural human thing to do is to just turn to violence when
Things
logic.
get complicated or
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's just yeah, when you get angry enough or you feel backed into a corner, it's like any vicious animal like that gets pinned down. When they only have one way out and it's through you and they end up getting aggressive and that same response happens to people as well.
And should we let that happen? Like, is that something that we should like? You know what I mean? Like, there's
I
going to
don't
be
know.
people who are defenseless. There's going to be people who are born without the capability of defending themselves. And should we have a system where everyone just kind of fends for themselves?
Nah, we live in an age where it's kind of impossible, you know what I mean? Because just technology and everything. And of course, it depends on your location, where you're at in the world. But like where we are at, shit. If everyone for himself is only limited to the greed of the person, I guess. I don't know. I can't. I'm trying to like think of something right now, but.
I don't know. The thing that I'm thinking, the logical conclusion that it ends up to is it's going to be one of two things the way that I'm thinking about it. One or two things is going to happen. Either it's going to be like you said, there's going to be like some sort of warlord or something like that, and they're just going to overtake everything, and everyone's just going to kind of have to either fall in line or rebel and die. Or
Yeah.
everyone is going to like continue the way that we are now because we realize that we need each other for the things that we want, because there's people who are willing to do things that other people are not willing to do so that they can enjoy some sort of luxury. Whether it's, internet and convenience, like the convenience stores and grocery stores and fast food and all these things that society today has come to normalize. They're going to want to continue that. People are going to want to continue to, like, man, when I'm at home, when I'm on my day off at home, I don't want to go out to eat. I just want to order like DoorDash or some
And
sort of.
somebody bring it to me, right? Dude, I've
Exactly.
been doing that a lot lately these days.
Yeah, there's going to be people who depend on that as their way of life because they just got so used to that luxury. And I'm thinking maybe that'll kind of keep people in check. Like, I need to be nice to people. I need to contribute to society because I want society to contribute, its I don't know, its commodities to me. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Mm.
That's what I'm thinking. Either go one of those two ways.
Communism, comrade.
I don't like that. I don't like
Nah,
that idea. Like,
I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. Fuck
we're
communism.
we're doing it for the benefit of the greater good, but in reality, no. It's like no, I'm doing it because you're giving me something out.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
getting
benefiting from your shit.
exactly. Yeah, I'm getting something out of it. Yeah. So this kind of leads me to thinking about like the police state in the sense where should we should we give up our sense of security, our yeah, because I mean that's pretty much all we have. Police, like, when's the last time you called the police? When's the last time you said, like, you know what, I need the police right now?
Damn. When I saw a house on fire, that was like maybe over 10 years ago,
But
probably longer.
did you need the
That was
police or did someone else need the police?
somebody, yeah, somebody else. I don't know if there was anybody there, but I was just passing by. Or maybe there was another incident where I could have, but I chose not to because I was like, oh yeah, me and Danny were at Ham's house. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Um, and there was like this little smoke shop. I guess somebody got shot there, and we were outside, like it was right across the street, man. What the fuck? It happened so fast, though. Anyway, yeah, man, that was an instance that I could have, but I didn't know what was going on until it was already said and done. But dude, as far as now, no, I say fuck the police, dude, for real. They're always minutes away when you do need them. And second of all, I just don't believe in them enforcing the state's laws that are completely like unjust, like nonviolent crimes and shit like that ruin people's lives
And
over
see,
nonsense,
I don't want I don't I want to disagree in the sense, like, I can't just flat out just say like we need no more, like, no more police, no more, like, just like fuck them all, and they just fire all of them, get rid of everybody, we don't need police. Like, I don't know, I'm not ready to jump off that bridge yet, but I am being presented a lot of evidence and a lot of things that kind of lead me to the think it's like where the police are just like one next step of just being corrupted, just foot soldiers, like just corrupted. Like, what's the difference between that and like a corrupt politician, a corrupt judge? Like, they have the law on their side.
yeah, and they're all work together.
They're all, yeah, they're part of a team. They all watch, they look out for each other. It's like it's very much that it's like a facade is created where it's like they put up all these banners and all these logos and all these signs. We're here to serve the community, to protect and serve, and all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's almost like they just look for a reason to pull people over. They
Yeah, that's the shit I'm talking about. Like, I can't respect that. Like, I do acknowledge that cops and police are a necessary evil because my extracurricular activities, I could get in trouble for that kind of shit, right? But
But
I know the risk, but I mean, see, it would also come down to the person who's doing the traffic stop. Like I have had good run-ins with the police, like this past, what was it, last Thanksgiving? The state trooper pulled me over. I had about six, right? But he, you know what I mean? Like he was cool about it. And he was like, "Are you sure you're okay? This and that." I'm not gonna get all into the details of everything, but like he was basically an older guy. He was feeling out the situation. He decided to let me go with a warning. He could have taken my ass in because he's like, "Man, I smell it on you, dude." And I'm like, "Nah, I only had a couple with my dinner." But he's like, all right, well, go ahead, have a nice night, whatever. He let me go, so I can respect that. He had every right to take my ass in that night, and I could have got my first ticket ever, or thrown in jail for that shit. But there's those ones that are like robots, the ones that are like, oh yeah, they're calling him back up. They're already ready to make the arrest. They don't even want to like,
and that's the
be
thing, man.
human about it.
What if the ones that we're seeing, what if that's like some sort of propaganda? What if we're intentionally being shown the bad ones? And then that's what we think is the majority of the police, uh, you know, police workers
Like
or
that's all the interactions, right? Like they're all bad, right? Like, hey, Cab, all cops are bastards. Like,
exactly.
nah, I'm not about that. I just have my issues, my points, things that I don't agree with them. But yeah, no, I do agree with the fact that they're showing all the bad cops, just like they like to show every racial thing. And every time there's a shooting and it involves a white person, that's blasted all over the media for at least 3 months, nonstop. Like white supremacy, white supremacy. But no, you show all the bad cops, like all cops are like this, all of them. Look, they just shot this black guy. Never mind that he was committing a felonious act not that much longer ago. And then being reckless and putting people's lives in danger trying to escape. But this asshole got lit up, and no, it was a racial thing. No, it wasn't. This guy was an asshole, and he attacked people, and he was just being dangerous. It's like, no, I agree that cops are needed, but there's certain thing it needs reform. Basically, is what I'm trying to get to.
And I don't like that word reform. Like, what does that mean? It's just like a blanket statement. Reform, police reform, and school reform, and all this other like, what is that supposed to mean? Does that mean like the system works? We just gotta tweak it a little bit. Like what does that mean? Does it mean like what specifically are we reforming?
The laws, we got to change some of the laws
And that's is
because
that realistic though? Is that
no, because
realistic?
there's special interests involved with those laws. Like if society was truly just, there wouldn't be a lot of the fucking bullshit on the books that there are now. You know what I mean?
No,
There's just
that
so
yeah,
much shit we can get in trouble for. It's like ridiculous.
yeah. That's the thing. I forgot what I think Tim Pool mentioned it that it's like on average someone commits 3 felonies a day or
Oh
something like
yeah,
that.
I remember hearing that too. Yeah.
Yeah, something crazy like that, and that attributes to what you're talking about there, where there's just way too many laws. Like, how are we supposed to keep track of everything? And then that there's always going to
Do we
be.
need like on top of that, do we even freaking need those damn laws? Like, who exactly is affected by, you know, a random pothead or somebody who decides to get wired once in a while? You know what I mean? Like, all the people that I've met that partake in stuff, they're just like everybody else. They have a job, they go, they do what they got to do, but then they happen to partake in those activities, on their off time. But they're not hurting anybody. I mean, okay, I'm mostly gearing towards that topic, but we can go with anything, just
Well,
the
there's
victim of crime.
differences though. Like, where do you draw the line though? Like, why is it that why is it that one substance is okay to abuse and not another? Like, for
Like,
example, alcohol. Why is alcohol okay to abuse?
well, like, you can get into some conspiracies with that, but I don't know. It's just widely acceptable. It's been around since Jesus'
Yeah,
time,
why
even
is
longer.
tobacco able to, you can abuse tobacco? Why are vape pen, e-cigs and all that junk, why is that
Yeah,
allowed?
all those, I don't know. Maybe corporations are the reason behind those. And the reason why marijuana is illegal. It's like,
Because you could
I
say
don't
like,
know.
oh well, weed is like mind altering, or it changes your behavior, or whatever. but so does alcohol.
Yeah, in a very negative way.
Yeah, so does
That's been
alcohol.
proven. Yeah,
Caffeine.
yeah. Caffeine can be destructive. You drink way too much of it.
Yeah, sugar in itself. Sugar is
Well,
like
everything
horrible
can be
for
bad.
your health.
See, now that's the thing. That's where anarchy comes into play. Because then you get into a big brother state with all this, like, oh, well, it's bad for you. Well, let me fucking do it anyway. I don't give a shit. What
And
if I
see,
want to? You know what I mean?
I
Like, leave me
agree
the
with
fuck
that,
alone.
and that's also something I was talking. This is, I mean, I'm gonna like we're gonna lose like the little subscribers. We're gonna get negative subscribers, but it's
Yeah.
like, but dude, like this kind of leads me into thinking, like we're kind of circling back into anarchy, and I kind of think like this is gonna be the theme of our of this episode here. Kind of like what do we think about anarchy, but in the sense where in today's age, you can't even kill yourself. You can't even kill yourself without being criticized, without everyone else being criticized for you killing yourself. Like I know people, I've worked with people. When I was working at the hospital, there'd be late nights that I'd be there, and there are people that come in and they say like, "I want to kill myself. I was feeling this, I was feeling that, and I want to kill myself." And you kind of feel for them. You kind of because that's what we're told to do, right? You're supposed to feel bad
Mm,
for someone who wants to kill. You need to help them as much as you can, and all this and that or whatever. But after a while, like a month passes
Here's the
by.
rope. Here's the rope, buddy.
Yeah,
No, I'm
yeah.
just kidding. Go on.
Well, let me get to it. A month passes by, 2 months pass by, 3 months pass by, and this person still keeps coming in. And I'm thinking, well, if you really wanted to kill yourself, how come you haven't done it? It doesn't seem like you want to kill yourself. It seems like you're using that as like some sort of trope to facilitate whatever sort of positive reinforcement you're receiving.
You want that attention.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not saying that all people who say they want to kill themselves are just looking for attention, but in a
Oh,
sense they are, because it's like people who want to kill themselves, who really want to kill themselves, you know what they do?
they do it in quiet.
They actually kill themselves. Yeah, they kill
And then
themselves. And
they're quiet about it. They don't go, "Oh, I'm gonna kill myself, guys. I'm gonna kill myself." They just fucking go somewhere. They do it, and then they're found days, weeks later. You
exactly,
know?
and that was something that I had talked to a doctor about, and his name, I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to put anybody on blast. No one listens to us, but still, whatever. I don't want to risk it.
Yeah,
I was
dude.
talking to this doctor, and I said, like, dude, like, what do you think about this? Like, is this a legit thing? Is this a mental thing? And he says from his experience, he said like 80 to 90% of the people who say that stuff, they're just looking for some sort of handout. They're just looking for some sort of get and some sort of way to escape their mind, and they're just being hyperbolic about it. Saying like I
Yeah.
want to kill myself is that that's their way of saying they want to get away of a certain situation that they're in, whatever it may be at the time. But I saw that doctor personally go. I went into a room. They ordered an X-ray. I went into the room, and the doctor, like, I walked in. The doctor said, "Hold up, like, wait, let me ask this person some questions first before we give the X-ray, because they may not need it." So I'm just there and I'm just waiting, and he's asking these questions. There was some lady, and he asked the lady, says, "Oh, so how long have you been thinking you wanted to kill yourself?" And just going through like a protocol of questions, I guess. And she's giving like the standard answers. And at the end, he tells her, "Okay, so were you gonna kill yourself tonight?" And she says, "Yes, I was gonna kill myself, and I had a plan. I knew how I wanted to kill myself." And then that from there, they're supposed to go on and do something else, but he was already like, "Yeah, I'm done." He's like, "Okay, so what were you gonna do? What was your plan?" He said, "Oh, I was gonna jump off a bridge." And he's like, "Well, that's it? You just wanted to jump off a bridge? And like, how come you didn't do it?" And the lady said, "Well, because there's no bridges to jump off of." And he says, "Yeah, there's a bridge over there by the arroyo, the one that's by Bogus.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a bridge
Oh
right
shit.
there. Why don't you go? Like, it's not that far. You can go down there and you can jump off the bridge. How come you don't go and do it?" And then like it went on. Like, okay, I'm listening to too much. I'm gonna back out here. I don't want to. I don't know if in turn this lady's gonna sue or what's gonna happen. I don't want to be a part of this. So even like the doctor knew kind of like the routine, and I'm pretty sure and I'm willing to take his experience uh more so than any other person, because they're there all day every day.
He's
All
been dealing with it for a while.
Yeah, he has like firsthand knowledge, firsthand experience, and he's actually talking to these people. So
Like probably after the 100th one that said I'm gonna kill myself, and then he asked the same questions. It's like, yeah, you're
and
really gonna do it. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like it's not just different, and it's not just different people. It's the same people over and over and over and over again. So that's what the kind of sets it off. That sets it makes it different than just interviewing 100 different people. It's like the same people over and over and over and over again. It's just one of those things. But yeah, it's more like a cry for help. So how do we get what? Were we trying to make a point here with suicide?
I don't know, man. I was
Oh yes,
thinking of
okay.
something,
Anarchy. We're going anarchy.
and we
So
were there.
shouldn't people
Oh,
be
yeah,
allowed to like kill themselves?
that's a hard one. Like me personally, like it's a sad thing to think somebody wants to kill themselves. It's like, man, there is stuff to live for. Like you just gotta find it. There's reason to stay alive and enjoy life. You know what I mean? But I mean, shit, trying to find that for them, that's impossible. Because who knows what's going on in their brain? I mean, I'm sure we've all felt that way, where it's like, man, life sucks, and what's the point? But you give it a little bit of time, and everything smooths out, and that thought goes away, and you start feeling like you feel okay, and maybe even find something to take occupy your time, or who knows, you might even pick up a hobby, and life's just becomes better after that. But I don't know. Should they be allowed? Shit, I don't know. I just damn.
I think
No,
there's different
I'm gonna
types of.
say no because it's like, it's just
You
no.
can't
I
even
don't
kill
think
yourself.
so.
That sucks.
Like, well, in an anarchist society, well, yeah, go for it, dude. There's the bridge. Just hopefully you do it right the first time, so you don't have to try again.
And
you
that's the
know,
thing. It's like you're gonna find, and that's the thing that there's been advocates that I've heard that I've listened to that they talk about like, man, I tried to kill myself. I jumped off a bridge and I landed in the water and I didn't die. And then now I'm an advocate to stop people because I realized that I don't want to die. It's like it's funny. Then you really didn't want to die. Like you think you did, but you really didn't. It's not until you realize like the fear of dying is more powerful than the stress of living, than the pain of living. I don't know. Maybe that's just like
yeah,
survival instincts taking over.
quite possibly. Sounds like it. Once they flung themselves over the bridge, they're like, "Fuck,
They
I didn't want
find
to do this after all."
they're looking for God on the way
Yeah,
down and
save
shit.
me.
But the thing is, like, it makes me think about that. I believe I've seen them and I've talked to them that there are different people that have fucked up thoughts in their head that they don't want those thoughts in their head. They were exposed to some sort of traumatic event. They were exposed to some sort of trauma that it put like nasty thoughts in their head, and they don't like those thoughts in their head, and they're forced to think about those things over and over and over again, and it kind of pushes people to like, how do I shut my mind off? And then it just escalates into a new thing, into like more thing like, okay, I'll take some sleeping pills, okay, I'll take some opioids, okay, I'll take some heavy drugs, and like it just escalates and escalates to the point where it's like, man, like nothing else is working. I've tried everything, and these thoughts don't go away. And I believe that those people, they don't want to kill themselves, but it's almost like they're kind of pushed to it.
Because of the insanity that
Yeah,
they're dealing with.
because of whatever sort of traumatic event, that PTSD, whatever it might be, is just replaying over in their head, and they don't have a way to shut their mind off. You know what I mean?
And yeah, that sucks, man. I wouldn't know a solution to that. But still, I don't know, allowing them to be able to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I think there could be a way, like if you could find, a group of people to figure out a solution to this kind of thing. I'm sure it's capable, it's possible, to come up with a solution for this person's problems, but it would take some time. So I don't know.
I don't know.
But I'm thinking back to
But
the, no, what?
but that just leads me to like the gray area where it's like, yeah, because it would be easy for me to think like, if someone wants to kill themselves, just let them go, let them go. Let them go and kill themselves. But there could be those people that they're saying they want to kill themselves, but they're only saying that because they're looking for a way out of whatever's going on, and they actually legit have some sort of underlying issue that's looking that's forcing them to look for a way to escape.
Yeah, the enemy of their own mind,
I
prisoner of their own mind. You know.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
So no,
that's a hard.
you're gonna transition to something else then.
I was gonna say about the anarchist society, like, cause we started off with that. I don't remember the question you were gonna go into it, but I mean, ANCAP, you know, anarchist, and damn it, I can't even say it right now. An anarchist capitalist, right? ANCAP,
Okay.
right? Did I say that right?
I have no
Like,
idea. You're asking me. I have no idea.
it's like a lawless society, you know, lawless society, but we all work together by mutual agreements. You know, like kind of what we do now. Hey, I got a job. You know, you want to help me out? I'll pay you this. All right, cool. You know, we're cool with that. Like, I don't know. Michael Malice explains it. Like I said, I agree with some of his ideas, but I mean, to live in a truly lawless society, I think it's impossible. Other than the basic laws, you know, the right to live. This is like the biggest one, and right to your property and stuff like that. I think that's some of the things he talks about.
So it's like anarchy with rights.
Basically, like, you know, you leave me alone and everything that I have, you know, we're cool. Basically, that's basically what it boils down to. But it's impossible to live in a society like that because other people don't think that way, or they could probably never think that way. And, you know, conquest has been a thing since, you know, forever. Shit. I think there's still people trying to conquer the world right now. You know what I mean? So there's always going to be somebody that's going to want what you have. And they're not going to want to leave you alone. They're going to fuck with you or they'll just outright kill you. So I don't know. Try to quash man's greed and then there'll be peace, I guess. That's impossible.
Yeah,
So,
that doesn't make sense. Not that it doesn't make sense, but that doesn't, like you said, it seems like that's something that would work only in a perfect world,
yeah,
in
or
a
in a
perfect
very
society.
small society, you know, like we're too big. We're way too big to live in an anarchist society. Like if you know we had a small town or something, yeah, that might work because there's just less people, you know, to deal with. But on a grand scale, like what we have in our country right now, or even other countries, like that's impossible. There's too many people, too many ideologies, especially here, this bullshit melting pot. That's actually, you know, I think it's kind of a bad thing. We do need like what do you call it? I can't pronounce it. Hegemonious society. You know, where we're all pretty much the same. Is that the right word I'm
I think
using?
it's harmonious.
Something like
Harmonious?
yeah. I can't remember the
Because I'm
word.
thinking of homo, and homo means like the same. Harmonious, homogeneous,
Something like that. You know,
homogeneous,
like
homo.
Japan. You know, they're all pretty much the same, so they all function the same. You know what I mean? Like we got too many different cultures here
Yeah.
in our country, and they don't take up an American style of culture. They just maintain the one they have, and they expect everyone else around them to conform, or at least you know be tolerant to what they you know how they live their life. And obviously, look at how that's happened, or how things have turned out over there in Europe with all those migrants, quote unquote,
Yeah.
that have been flooding their countries. And you got no-go zones. Like, what the fuck is that? You go in there and these people run you off with rocks and you know they'll stab you and shit. Like, what the hell's going on here? You know, I'm not gonna get into what type of people are there, but you know, you got a quick Google search and you know you'll find out.
No go
It's like,
zones in the
man,
EU. That's it.
yeah, basically, like, there's no-go zones, man. You can't go there. It's like shit.
And
It's ridiculous.
I don't know, man. That's leads me to think is, are people supposed to be isolated, like kind of like the way we used to be, where very tribal. You had different, obvious difference, different nations. You know, you had all different types of tribes, different types of ways of thinking, and they kind of just separated themselves. And they did their own thing, they created their own culture, and someone else did their own thing and created their own culture. Maybe that's like what true peace looks like, just being left alone to do your own thing. And every now and then, of course, you're going to have those outliers that want a little bit more, and
Yeah.
that's where you run into confrontation, you run into issues like
Seems
that.
that way, right? Like it seems that way, cause. But then again, I don't know. my question would be, why does conflict begin anyway? You know,
I think it's the
who's
ego.
the
The ego, that's a human characteristic. It's just there's that thing in our mind, whatever, whenever we were created, that thing was put there. I don't know what the purpose of it is. Maybe it's to, I don't know, maybe it's a form of like weeding out the weak, and just making sure that only the strong continue to ensure the the continuance of the species. So you don't have any weakness in the species. The ego just makes
like a
sure that
natural law and order kind
I
of thing?
yeah, like just making sure that the strong prosper and the strong moves on, so that it just creates a higher probability that the species will continue,
So
going.
then, would you say a strong characteristic, not necessarily would be a good one, but somebody who is aggressive that is willing to murder you and take your stuff? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you need
would that be considered
that would
something on the
yeah,
strong,
I think
right?
that would be considered like alpha. So
Yeah.
that would be the one that would more likely rise to the top, in the sense where there's nothing oppressing that person, because they're the constant aggressor.
And so then it would be a weak. Well, then, how about this? Somebody who doesn't want conflict and ends up dying because of that stance. You know, they choose not to fight. They end up getting killed because of it. But that's just the personal choice that they had. They were fully capable of doing it. They just didn't want to. What would you say about that?
Then
Like,
th- then
what kind of
they're then they're weak. They're
they're
true.
weak,
They're
right?
truly weak.
Because didn't want to fight.
Because I'm
Yeah, I
think
do agree. You gotta fight. You have to fight. I mean,
because I'm
shit.
I'm thinking of like the whole Jordan Peterson thing. I think it was Jordan Peterson that said that a good man is not a man that does nothing. A good man is a man who is dangerous, but has it under control.
Yeah,
So, because
shit. That sounds damn.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I've
something
heard that.
Jordan Peterson said, and that's the thing. Like I feel as if we're like society as a whole is kind of being trained to dumb itself down. Like that's what bothers me about Tim Pool and a lot of these people, the kind of pacifist type people. It's like, man, we just need peace. We need peace, and we need to
Fuck
hold
that.
hands, and we need to be friends, and this and that, blah blah blah, and this and that. Violence should not be the answer, and
Fuck
everything like
that.
that. And
I don't agree with
it bothers me, yeah, dude. It bothers me when I
it. Yeah,
hear that stuff, because like like where do you draw the line then? And by the time you draw the line, how much damage is done that's irreparable?
dude, Hank Hill has it best, man. Just fucking kick some ass, dude. Sometimes people need a good ass whooping to be brought back to reality, but people like Tim Pool, no, violence isn't the answer. Like, or violence begets violence, whatever. Like, no, sometimes people need a fucking smack upside their head to be brought back down to reality, you know? That's just my opinion. And all this passive nonsense, look at what happens when you don't act. You get all these little pussies that are weak, soy boy type, fucking beta male, beta whatever, making decisions on our lives, and nobody's, that's it's impacting us in a very negative way. And these little weaklings are making decisions on our behalf. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
And that's the
We're
thing.
losing control.
We have to find a way for that balance then. That balance of because if you're constantly fighting all the time, progress cannot be made. And I understand that. It makes sense. You don't have time to sit down and have a family and, you know, actually get some sense of comfort where your family and everyone's able to progress, and then we have like the lifestyle that we have where it's man, we have like a very cush lifestyle, at least here in the United States. We have like the richest poor people in the world, and uh, that's the new normal. Like, comfortable is normal. Whereas for thousands of years, before recorded history, comfort was an unimaginable luxury.
What was comfort back then,
There was
right?
no comfort. Like, there was no comfort back then. It was like people survived because of fear. People survived because they prepared, they did things motivated by fear. Like, what if I don't eat tomorrow? What if I don't, survive? What if I don't survive the night? What if I don't do this? Like, extreme amounts of fear is what sustained early civilization. Now, what sustains civilization? Like, the hope of more, the hope of excess.
I don't know, man. It's shit. There is nothing like there's no goals. The have you ever, man, that's a topic we could get into. And I'm like don't know a whole lot about it, but I know enough. But Kaczynski, man, his power process, like there's no incentive to better yourself in this
No,
society because technology has kind of taken away of the need for survival and all those basic instincts that you were talking about right now. And like that's why we get all these incels these days that are moping around. They're sad. They got no purpose in life because there's no reason. There's nothing for them to survive. They have no need to survive. Basically, like there's no instinctual need to like, oh, I gotta move or I'm gonna die. Because
yeah,
everything's just given to them. They can go to McDonald's and get fed at any moment for less than $3. Get a full meal or whatever. They never have to work for their food. They don't have to do anything. Everything's just there on a silver platter. Oh. So we have a very weak society right now because of all this comfort. I mean, I'm not complaining because hell, we're taking advantage of it. We're more level-headed about things, but still, it's kind of made our society very weak, and we have a lot of bitch-made people in this country right now, and nobody's afraid. Everyone's afraid. They don't want to speak their mind. Because they hear all these other people screeching about all this nonsense. The LGBT people and those damn Marxist Black Lives Matter types, and they don't want to be the odd man out. They don't want to have a different opinion, so they fall in line. And yeah, man, I can't. That shit annoys me, man. I don't like that shit at all.
and that's the. I feel like that's like a natural. I don't know. I feel like I, it just turns back into the thing where this is our universe. Our universe, like everything that's in it, is meant to end. Not the way that we're designed, the way that everything is designed, it's designed a specific way so that it doesn't continue. So maybe this progression to like comfort is a natural thing, that it's a good thing that it happens because it creates an easier life for the inevitable. Whereas at the beginning, you had people who were just constantly in fear, living a horrible life that they were just trying to get by. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
Whereas now we can at least enjoy our demise, I guess. I can't think of another way of
Yeah,
putting it.
in comfort, right, or
Yeah,
whatever.
we can be destroyed. We can, what was it? Corrode in comfort or something like that. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have it good. This is not a bad thing, but it's just the way that I guess our schools are being run and what our youth is being taught. They're being taught garbage, dude. Like in my opinion, they should be taught basic life skills. It should always be taught because who knows what could happen. A big old nuclear war or some shit or some kind of EMP device gets developed and boom, there goes the internet. Then what? There goes all of our electronics. Then what? What are
It's
we
like
gonna do?
it makes me think of like Warhammer, because
Yeah, right.
right, they
Or even
outlawed
Fallout,
they outlawed like artificial intelligence
Damn.
in Warhammer.
See?
I forgot when they had outlawed it, but they outlawed it. They made that you could never have technology like run itself. It had to have some sort of person behind it or whatever. There had to be some sort of human thinking behind it, and they outlawed it because it would be the destruction of society itself. It became like heresy.
Skynet would be come self-aware.
Yeah, pretty much. And in I forgot when they. I think it was like in the early year, like in the because Warhammer takes place uh 40 40,000 years right into the future,
I
and
believe it. Yeah.
or 4 millennia into the or 4,000 years into the future, 4 millennia. I forgot what it was, but I want to say in like the second millennia or the third millennia or something like that. That's when they outlawed artificial intelligence, but because of that,
You become self-aware.
they wouldn't allow it to take root. Well, I don't know, man. That's a I think that's a good spot to leave it at because it's one of those things where we're starting to talk about things that we don't really know about, like in terms of like the start of civilization and everything like that.
Yeah, it's way beyond my knowledge as well. A lot of things, dude. I know some stuff. I'm pretty knowledgeable on some things, but no, I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
it's that's it's it's interesting though because like the messed up thing is, oh, is that me? The messed up thing is like not a lot of people think about this stuff or even attempt to think about it, and it's interesting because I feel like it creates that a bigger an even bigger disconnect where it's like I'm not going to think about things that are negative. I'm only going to think about things that are positive, and that I think that's a big disservice to people. They only want to be like surrounded by positive energy, only positive energy. Everything positive.
Fuck that. You need some negativity.
I think so too, man. I think people need to like open their eyes and understand that there's things going on around them that requires requires your attention, and if not, then you're just going to be, you know, thinking what went wrong, a few
Mm,
years down the
like,
road.
hey, yeah, like look at what's going on right now too. Like those that are aware, once you have seen it, you can't unsee it.
Yep.
And I'm talking about like people's bullshit, the media's nonsense. Like once you see through their nonsense, like you can never unsee it and you can spot it out very easily, from that point forward. And the people that are living in comfort right now, like that's what they want. Um, the people that have their motives, they're trying to make sure everyone just stays on Facebook and on TikTok or whatever, posting stupid memes and just living life and not paying attention to the bigger picture, what's going on behind the scenes. And that's why we're losing, or we have lost control so far. But things are kind of swinging the other way now because the mask has come off. They're not even trying to hide it. And people are just becoming awake, normal people that used to just live life, now they're becoming aware of what's going on around them, and people are starting to wake up little by little. Because I mean, look at all the stuff. Like, have you gone to gas pumps and seen the Joe Biden stickers? I've already seen one near my place.
Oh, really? No,
You
I
know what
haven't.
I'm talking
Haven't.
about?
No, I haven't seen that.
There's a Joe Biden sticker where he's pointing, and, whatever. He's got his aviators on. He's pointing or whatever, and like people have been going to gas pumps and sticking them right next to the gas price, and on the sticker it says, "I did that." Do you remember when he was be proud of something that some bill he passed where he's like, "Look, I did that" or whatever. I don't know if you haven't seen it. Well, he says that, and somebody made a sticker out of that with Joe Biden pointing, and there's people going around the gas pumps. They're sticking it on the gas prices and stuff. And so people that voted for him or people that are not really politically aware, they're gonna go to the gas pump, they're gonna see that, and they're gonna like, well, yeah, this asshole is in office, and look, I'm paying like damn near $4 a gallon again. Yeah, I know this person fucking sucks. Like, and who
I
knows?
hope
Maybe they'll vote the next time and they'll vote for the other party.
I hope that's the case, man. I hope that there's people out there that are willing to accept the reality because I'm of the mindset that there are a lot of people who are just willing to to be told what to do, willing to be told what that everything is not okay unless someone tells them it's okay, and everything is not bad unless someone tells them everything is bad. And it needs to be from their specific tribe. It needs to be from their specific network. It needs to be from their specific news source. It needs to be from their specific family members or whatever. I, I don't know, man. I feel very pessimistic about the idea that we're changing anything, and I feel that it's a losing battle. It's a losing battle in the sense where People want to find the path of least resistance. Organisms want to find the path of least resistance. And what's easier than not having to think for yourself?
Man, I hate those damn hive mind types.
It,
Stupid.
because we ran into a lady the other day, and we went to like some bodega or whatever, looking for some stuff to buy, and there was a lady there, and she started talking shit to me about I was wearing my Texas A&M hoodie, and she's like,
Uh-huh.
where are you from? Are you from here? Like talking down to me. And
Really?
I'm like, yeah, I'm from here. I was born here. It's like, really? Then why are you wearing an A&M shirt or A&M this and that? And I'm kind of looking at her, and I kind of just laugh at her and this and that. And I tell her, I said, well, I'll tell you this. Well, did you eat today? And she's one of those people. I was talking to Corey about this. Like like these people are very interesting because if you notice, if you ever try to talk to these people, they never hear you. They never listen. Like you tell them something, and they're like, what? And you tell them something again that what? I don't understand what you're saying. It's like maybe that's why they're so stupid because they literally cannot they literally cannot take in new information because they're so dense. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I told her like, oh yeah, did you eat today? He said, yeah, I ate today. He says, yeah, well you have an Aggie to thank for that. No, 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 no. And she starts going off into some other ramble, some other rant. She's like, what do you do? What is your job? Oh, well, I'm a teacher. So, oh, well, I'm a teacher too. I taught for 60, blah, blah, blah. She starts going off and this and that. And then they started giving me shit about my gun and this and that, all this other stuff. But it's like these people, they don't want to listen. They want other people to listen to them. And then when someone tells them something, they don't want to hear it. They want to be heard. And I feel that there's more. I've been running into the reason I think that way is because I've been running into them more than I have people who are really willing to have an open conversation.
Yeah, that sounds annoying, dude. I haven't run into any of those types. But
Well,
then
that's
again, I
good
don't
then.
talk to
Maybe it
people.
leaves me hope. I don't know, because I don't know. I feel I can have a conversation with some people, and usually on that side, it's people who are more educated that have some quote unquote educated. You know, they went to college and they
They
have
spend
some
money.
they spend
They
money
spend.
for yeah
They spend money.
to get their job type of people, and they're a little bit more willing to have a conversation about something that they disagree with. But on the flip side, I have had a lot of experience with people who say that they are open minded, say that they're willing to have a conversation, and then once you bring up a topic that just rubs them the wrong way, that's it. You're an enemy for life. You cannot be like you're a bad person and you cannot be trusted. So
Oh, you become the enemy.
yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, those people aren't open minded.
Well, that's the
They
thing.
want you
Like,
to harm and stay that way.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. That usually it's people who are educated and they've gone to college and this and that that are that are usually more open minded. But I have run into those who are say they're open minded, but they're not.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any college experiences other but I hear a lot of things. Maybe to bring up, the what we're talking about, how when we see cops, all these bad cops doing bad things, that we assume all cops are bad. Like I've heard nothing but bad things about college students. Like a lot of them are going in these indoctrination areas and coming out fucking radical and stupid and so I don't know. Do you think that's the case, or do you think there really are a lot of level-headed, higher educated people?
I think it's both. I think that there are people that are being indoctrinated. There are people who are drinking the Kool-Aid. But I think even more so, that is without a doubt that I think people that are coming out of colleges are stupider.
Yeah.
They're not gaining critical thinking skills. But at the same time, I don't think all of them are being indoctrinated. I think that there's some that are not being indoctrinated, but on the flip side, that still doesn't mean that still isn't a good thing. I think a lot of people are going to college thinking that all I have to do is go to college and then I'm going to get the job that I want or I'm going to be quote unquote successful, and that is not the case. That
Hmm.
that I think that there's a bigger issue. I think the indoctrination is a thing that is happening, but I don't think it's as widespread as the big lie that college equals success.
Nah, I never believed that. I'm glad I never went, man. Fuck, I would still be dead to my eyeballs.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I tell everybody that I try not to tell. I don't say it at the job interviews, but that's one thing
Yeah.
that I say afterwards. Like after we
I'll
become,
go to college.
after you've already hired me, that's it. It's over. I'll tell you, and then I'll tell
It's a
you,
trap.
the biggest mistake I ever made in my life was going to college.
Yeah. Well, that would have been a big mistake for me too. I would probably would have wasted my time because I'm a lazy ass. But I, shit. Well, nowadays I'm finding more interest in things, so I probably wouldn't mind going back now. Now that I have an actual, you know, direction that I wouldn't mind going. But nah, back then, if I was doing it right out of high school, shit, I would have just been wasting my time.
And it's
Like,
hard, man, because you'd have to find one of those classes that are really really good. Because I've had a couple. There's only like a handful of classes that I took that I can really look back and be like, man, I'm glad I never would have been exposed to this any other way without a professor, without someone who studies this for a living. I would never have been without being into this, without being in this class. Like there was a history professor. His name was Mr. Fisher. I think he was a doctor, Dr. Fisher, and he was like the head of the history department. And he showed us. He gave us a book. He said, "You're gonna read this book, and then we're gonna talk about it. And then I'm gonna let you guys. We're gonna have an open discussion, and then I'll tell you what I think, and then we can go from there, and we'll have a discussion." And he opened up the way that I look at things. Like it's like, yeah, your view is important to you, but that's not the only view. Let me blow your mind a little bit over here. Tell you what the truth is, like the reason why someone wrote this. And he backed it up with facts, like facts, tangible facts that you can look up. And even with like he even took it so far as brought in music. He said like he would give us an idea, tell us like this is what he thought that they were thinking at that time or whatever, and he says you can prove this by all these different historical facts and blah blah blah, all these writings and diaries and journals and this and that. But then he took it the next step further and he even brought in music. He said this idea, they were writing music about it, and he played us the music, and you can hear that idea, whatever it was, in the lyrics. So
Hmm.
like this guy knew his stuff, and he was talking about it. Same thing this government professor that I had, and it's fucked up. I don't remember his name, but he was like from Romania or something like that. And he lived through communism, he lived through all this crazy stuff, and he made us look up things, like actually look into what our government is doing and pay attention to, like learn how to pay attention to what is happening around you and how that affects you. And
Hmm.
he was a government professor, and those are the only two people that I really felt kind of made you start making you think about higher, that term higher education.
Like they were legit about you know, they would be what you would what you would expect going to college, right? Like you
Exactly.
would expect to learn that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Not
Yeah.
not this lesbian dance theory, everyone's racist, fucking equity bullshit. What the fuck are they talking about? It's just a bunch of buzzwords that these dummies are parroting.
It's like basically curriculum based off of feelings, based off of
Yeah,
a
like
single
what
person's
the fuck?
interpretation. Whereas
And
it's
sorry,
supposed
go
to
ahead.
come it's supposed to come from sources, from people who have, like, it's verified by a series of people, not just from what one person thinks, their
Okay.
interpretation of history or whatever.
Right now we got a government based on feelings.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Man, bunch of crap, dude. We need a whole freaking flush the government out and start over. And I don't mean that in a violent way. It's just like, man, everyone needs to be fired. Fucking damn, dude. Something needs to happen because both sides are corrupt as hell. They both they both wash each other hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Both one hand wash the other kind of nonsense. They're both in on it. There's only a few that stand out that really, they're too honest, like Rand Paul. They tell it how it is, at least what it appears. They spit the facts and they're not liked for it. But they're not popular either, you know.
And
They're
that's the
they're a little too libertarian, I think.
and,
They sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 you're good.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't know, what would this stance be? Somebody who's libertarian that believes in personal freedoms and all that, but who isn't afraid to wield power. Is there a political stance like that? Like, because libertarians, they don't, they seem to not want to use their power. They believe in everyone, doing their own thing, and oh, government, corporations, they're doing their own thing, and no government intervention. But like, to me, that's just gonna leave the door wide open for corruption. Somebody who is gonna come in there and do some damage.
And
So these people are weak. They're weak, is what I'm saying.
that's what I would think is anarchy, because they're what am I thinking of? The way that I'm thinking of, like, very cut and dry, very simple. Sorry, I can't think of a way to explain it more eloquently, but there's always going to be someone stronger. There's always someone stronger. So if you have someone who is abusing their power in in anarchy, there would be no issue with someone going in and overtaking that person and saying, like, hey, I don't like what you're doing. I don't think you're doing it right. So you're going to stop doing it and I'm going to do it.
Look at me, I'm the captain now.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
And but then that inherently creates a problem where everybody's going to be able to do that. Everybody can everybody can challenge the person that's on top. So you're going to have good people that challenge, and you're going to have bad people that challenge. And it just turns it into the roll of the dice. Let's hope that the good person is the one that is stronger at the end. When that
man,
sometimes that's not the case. You got retards with some unbelievable amounts of strength. So
the Earth, the unbridled retard fury.
and you have
Uh,
some freaking one-eyed, crazy, ogre-looking dude in control of everything because no one can dethrone them.
that's scary.
But nah, man, I don't think there's a way that especially like you said too. I think that's a good point that in today's society, just the abundance of everything, there's just way too many hands in the pot. There's way too many hands in the pot, and you're not going to change someone's mind. Someone who's been thinking a certain way for 30 years. Like I can honestly say I've only been thinking a certain way for maybe 10 years. I don't
Hmm.
feel like I woke up until like my late 20s. And
Yeah.
I think I think a lot of people that are older, they've been thinking a certain way since like they're, about the same age, like since in their 30s. And now they're 60, 50 or 60, and they've been thinking the same way for the past 20, 30 years.
I was about to ask that too. Do you think that their mind is always developing, or they hit a certain viewpoint and they stay with it till the day they die?
I think it's a combination of both. They're open to new ideas, but at the same time they're looking for a way, how can I squash that with my way of thinking? How can I challenge it with my way of thinking? Because that's the only way you can progress is through challenge. You got to challenge something, and if it doesn't stand up to the challenge, then it wasn't a worthwhile idea.
Yeah, I agree with that. Makes sense.
So
Mm.
you have these people that have been thinking a certain way for so many years, and it's like, I'm 60, 70, 80 years old. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. It just gives me comfort knowing that I don't have to change my way of thinking anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. There's a bunch of corruption everywhere. Bunch of corruption. It's like, what do you do in a society like that? Just keep your head down and try to make it some way.
Just
But
whatever
I
you
mean,
do, don't be violent. You got to be nice to people.
hmm,
Fuck that. I think we should end on that. We shouldn't, like, we need a more we need people who are not afraid to stand up and say something even if it's not popular. Like
even if it's not popular, yeah, man.
we need people to stop being like pussies and like say something
Exactly.
even yeah, say something even if you're wrong. Even if you're absolutely wrong, don't be afraid for someone to tell you you're wrong and be man enough to accept that you're wrong.
Damn, that last one's gonna be difficult for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Super difficult. Nobody wants to be wrong, and it's even harder to admit it. But,
So I think that'd
but
be a
I'm
good way, good place to end it though. So this is a good episode talking mostly about anarchy and stuff like that.
bunch
Uh,
of random stuff.
yeah. So the problem here is, so we remember guys, slamfiremedia.com. We got YouTube, BitChute, Rumble. The only problem is I just realized on OBS I was streaming and not recording. So hope to God that this is all
Oh,
this is all recorded, and if the quality is
shoot.
not as good, that's why you guys know we didn't record. We streamed this one this time, so hopefully everything works out. But
Shout
thanks
out to the viewer.
for our one viewer. We gotta give you the inside knowledge for those of you who watched this to the end. You guys, this, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna leave this in here in like 2 or 3 years when we're big and we're making like millions of dollars or whatever. We're gonna
Damn,
we're gonna put
Joe
this.
Rogan status.
This is we're gonna put a word in here. We're gonna what's a word? Like let's give like a word, like a keyword here that opens up like a password.
Bird. I don't know.
Bird, big bird,
Bird is the word.
big
Big bird.
bird, big bird. So this is the word right here, big bird. So later on down the road, for those of you guys who stuck with us and that are watching us like to the very end right now, later on we'll do a giveaway. We'll give away, like, I don't know, we'll think of some sort of giveaway, an awesome giveaway, and be like, if you guys can tell us the password, you're gonna win the
What
get. Whoever can tell us the
word?
password is gonna be the giveaway, and then they're not gonna know unless they watch this episode.
Damn. Shit, right? Buried treasure. Buried
this
treasure.
this is it, buried treasure right here. So those of you guys, get in on it while you can, and whoever's in on it right now, don't tell your friends. Just tell them about the other episodes. Don't tell them about
Yeah,
episode 7.
I'm talking about this one.
Lucky
You
number
did it.
7, dude, and it's lucky number 7. This is episode number 7.
And all things are aligning, man. This
Hopefully
is it.
this recorded. We'll see. All right, guys.
Shit.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
Peace.